From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We're going to talk a little Ole Miss football recruiting, the Rebels continuing their running commitments, maybe more on the horizon, or not maybe, there is more on the horizon as well. So we'll get into that on today's show. We'll air some grievances of just things that are bothering us out in the sports world today. Usually it's a Friday show. We're going to make it a Monday show for you today as well. So it's the summer. We talk about what we want. So we'll get to that and much more on the Oxford Exxon Podcast, brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon. They are the presenting sponsors of the You Gotta Believe football camp that's coming to Jackson in about a month and a couple days. If you're a coach, if you're a parent, you want to get your kid involved, you can do that. Just check them out at ygbfootball.org and find out more there. Critical is the presenting sponsor of that. A lot of NFL players, former Ole Miss players participating: A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Dante Moncrief, Mike Hilton, Chad Kelly, just to name a few. It was an awesome deal. Last year we were down there for it, so you can get your player to participate in whatever role that is. With YGB football and with Critical. So again, that is that, and then we're coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
I'm going to talk about Clark Ford in just a second. Are we going back this year? Are we invited, requested?
I assume that we're invited. I have not locked down those dates, but I mean, I know you were wanting to do a visit with the a live show, maybe at Estelle. Maybe that can be worked out together or something. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's a thought. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, it's.
And actually, I got that date way wrong. We actually, if we're doing this, we might want to rush. It is July 8th and 9th. I had 29th. It's July 8th and 9th.
Yeah, no, July 8th and 9th. That's close.
It's really close.
What's today, the 24th?
Today's the 24th.
So it's 2 weeks.
Yeah. Might want to get on the shtick a little bit. Good thing
I asked some questions.
Yeah, sorry. Good.
We're just going to go marching into the abyss.
And there is also I went to the website to make sure there is a register link there at the website. You shouldn't even really have to ask for more information. You just got to click the button and take care of it.
I just feel bad, showing up next to DK Metcalf and making him feel so bad about his body. I just don't like that part of it. I don't want to ruin his confidence before he gets started with his career.
How much would I have to pay you to get a shirt-off photo with DK Metcalf that we put on the internet?
I don't know that there's enough money.
Oh, come on. No, really? $500?
Yeah, maybe. And in 2 more weeks, I might have reached my goal in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Probably not. I'll probably still be a couple to 3 pounds over.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So, yeah, I mean, I would probably do it for $500.
Okay.
And not feel just god-awful. I mean, I'd feel bad, but most mortal men would feel bad shirtless next to
How much would have had to have paid you 30 pounds ago?
I wouldn't have done it for $500.
It'd have been a high number.
Been more like $1,500 to even get me to think about it.
Okay. Fair enough. Just curious.
I mean, yeah. 30 pounds makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I mean, I still look incredibly inferior to him,
but every human on Earth does almost. So
right. So I'd be
in
more.
In some ways, you're almost just kind of desensitized to it. It's like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In many ways, I would be more comfortable with that photo next to someone like him than I would be just the photo of just me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
When you're right next to him, you're like, yeah, me and every other guy looks like a complete loser compared to this cat. I mean, he's physical proof that we are not all created the same. Now, he's worked hard for it. Don't get me wrong, but still.
It's that strawberry milk. He's got the Nesquik ad, our sponsorship.
I'm happy for him. He's such a good person, and everybody who knows him, dating all the way back into like middle school, raves about DK. So I'm glad that he's making money. I'm glad that he's successful, and he's one of those guys that if he can have success on the field, he'll be a star off of it because of his personality. Clark Ford, speaking of stars, 662-257-1900. Call that number. I need to call that number today, in fact, because I need to get a service. And when I do, it'll be super simple. I'll call, I'll set it up, and they'll make it very convenient for me. They'll make it convenient for you as well. When you become a Clark Ford customer, call the number, ask for Corey Clark, tell Corey what Ford you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is kind of up to you. You can let it be a baseline for you moving forward, or you can go ahead and get into your new Clark Ford. You'll love it. You'll love the service that comes with it. You'll love the service after the sale. All of those things. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He will prove that to you once you call the number. So call the number, and then at the end of your deal, tell Corey you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast. You'll save $500 off your already great bottom line.
We'll obviously get to it on Thursday when we speak to him, but Jeffrey winning that Rory McIlroy U.S. Open bag by naming himself 3 times might be the most peak thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I laughed so hard when I saw the tweet because it's probably what won, because something tells me that either Rory McIlroy laughed or the people that made the decision.
Yeah, his agents or media people or whoever does that kind of crap.
They got to giggle.
Okay. I'm proud for Jeffrey. I told Jeffrey I was proud for Jeffrey. Are you a little surprised, however, that they allow a verified Twitter user who hosts a radio show to be one of the winners and not just a couple average Joes? Is that not a little surprising just simply from a marketing and PR standpoint?
It's a little surprising.
It also is an unfair advantage for Twitter people that are verified, because normally if you're verified, it will pop up when you notify. So it's actually a message that would go to the phone instead of just going straight through into the mentions. So it's more noticeable.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I was happy for him.
They picked one Twitter person, and it was Jeffrey.
It was the happiest day of his life. I'm not sure that.
Aaliyah is very certain that he will not be as happy if they should walk down the aisle at some point, as he was yesterday.
Oh, that's safe. Yeah. I mean,
come on, priorities. I mean, really.
It's a different kind of happiness. But yeah, I mean, I think Rory makes Jeffrey happier than Aaliyah or any other human being possibly could. I mean, the only person that I think could step in and make him happier would be something personal from Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
I do think...
Do you think Baker's higher than Rory?
I think Baker could do something, but it would take something special now to move into that slot.
Ooh. Okay.
But I think if Baker were to say autograph a Browns jersey with something very personal to Jeffrey, I do think that or an autographed helmet or something. I do think that
would eclipse the Rory and the golf bag.
I do, because Jeffrey worships at the feet of the football gods, and Baker's way up there in terms of the hierarchy of his football love, and yeah, I do think that would be a game changer.
Okay. We'll ask that. We can get to that. For anyone who has not been on the board or on Twitter, Rory McIlroy gave away 2 autographed U.S. Open golf bags of his, and Jeffrey was the Twitter winner. You had to mention 3 friends in the post on Twitter, and Jeffrey linked his own Twitter profile 3 times.
Yeah, my friend Robert Sheeran sent me the text. I guess it was Saturday morning or Sunday morning. I lose track of all days these days. I don't know why, but early, and I just was like, oh my God, he's going to be so happy. And I sent a congratulations text to him. It had to be 6-something in the morning. And so I can only imagine how his phone was blowing up.
The Twitter replies are worth the read with everybody mad that he won because of the check mark and because he linked himself 3 times. Lots of anger in the Twitter replies.
The people that are like, well, he should be disqualified. Oh, come on. He should absolutely not be disqualified.
It's a golf bag.
It's a golf bag, and the answer is hilarious. Tweeting himself.
Frankly, it was more creative than just putting Joe, John, and Bill.
It was so much more creative. It was hilarious. When I saw it, I mean, I literally laughed so loud that I had tears coming out of my eyes. It was so funny. Because if you know Jeffrey, that was such a Jeffrey moment.
So,
he deserved to win the bag. That bag will be cherished.
That thing will be displayed whatever the prominent spot is. That's where that bag's going.
The only thing I could see that he would do that would make it even more epic was when he gets it, he might take a picture of it and send it to Caroline Wozniacki.
Oh,
just
God.
To troll.
Hey, how about a wedding gift, right? You know, she got married 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did she? Oh, see,
yeah. It was set up for him to, if he can't play well on a Sunday of a major, so it didn't matter, but he was set up and in contention to potentially win the U.S. Open on her wedding weekend, and I thought that would be the last little dig at her as he finishes this thing after you break it off at the invitation point and you do it with a 10-minute phone call and didn't even meet in person. So, you don't remember all this? I mean, Jeffrey gave us a play-by-play at the time.
I mean, I do, but, you know.
Yeah, they had hung out earlier in the day, best I recall, and then he called her later in the day and broke up with a 10-minute phone call.
Wow.
Yeah. Invitations were either ordered or sent. I don't remember which.
Seems like they had been sent.
Yeah.
Who'd she marry?
The basketball player. David Lee.
Oh, the former Florida player?
Isn't that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, David Lee. Yeah.
I just hope that whoever owns the team that David Lee plays for does not use the term owner at the wedding, because that would be offensive.
David Lee's no longer a player, though. He is a retired player.
Okay, so no one can own his team.
Well, no, because he's not on a team that can be owned.
Well, thank God. We avoided that scandal.
You know, I don't know when we were going to go here. We can do it now. Yeah, he played for, let's see, the Knicks, the Warriors, the Celtics, the Mavericks, and the Spurs, 2005 to 2017. Actually, a 2-time NBA All-Star.
Yeah, he had a really good career.
Yeah, won a title in 15 with the Celtics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, he had a hell of a career.
Yeah, it says NBA champion, 2015. Okay. You're going here, and here's why I'm bugged. And, I mean, I'm not really being careful, but I know you get stuff from both sides, and I'm not really in the mood. NBA comes out over the weekend, something that's been brewing for a while, and says that not only are they not using the term owner to just talk about the person who, well, owns the NBA franchises, but that they have been phasing that out for a long time. This coming from Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. And it's really, my point of this is bigger, is a much more complex, not really complex, but a much more wide scope macro than just this. We're in a society now where not only are we not doing this, but we're fighting against it. There is no context to anything. We have no ability to either use context, or even if we have the ability, we choose not to in order to be offended at this point. That is my problem. This is a contextual problem with me, is that there's no ability to look at a situation on the whole and then make a determination about what it means. We just decided everyone's offended, and so I don't know where it stops. I'm not slippery slope guy typically, but we are in a very dangerous slippery slope period from the standpoint of simply critical thinking and, frankly, thinking in general.
Well, I just sometimes wonder if we've completely lost common sense. I mean, I'm big on the common sense party, as you know. If someone ever wants to start it, I'm in. This is stupid. If you own a team, you're the owner of the team. No one has ever claimed Tom Ricketts owns the Chicago Cubs. The Ricketts family owns the Chicago Cubs. To my knowledge, he and his family have never claimed to own the rights to Anthony Rizzo's life. Now they own they pay him to play baseball for their team, and so the team owns his rights. The Cubs could, I guess, trade Anthony Rizzo today to the Atlanta Braves, for example. The Braves are in Chicago. They could trade Rizzo to the Braves, and he would walk across Wrigley Field, and he would put on a Braves uniform, and the people that own the Braves would now own his rights as a baseball player. They would pay him to play baseball for the Atlanta Braves until that contract was up. This is just not complicated. There's nothing offensive about that word. No one's claiming to own the players.
Well, I mean, forget sports for a minute. I mean, the Craddock's own Craddock Oil. They don't own every employee. I mean, this is not an NBA. I mean, if it was offensive, it wouldn't just be offensive in sports. It'd be offensive, period.
The word would be offensive, period. The people that own Blue Delta Jeans.
Yeah, people do own companies.
They own the company. Now, they pay people to make the jeans. They don't own the people. Nor do they claim to own the people. They pay them for a service as an employee.
Contracts and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we work for Rivals.com, which is owned, I believe, by Oath.
Well, it's owned by Verizon, who created Oath by combining Yahoo and AOL.
Whatever.
There you go.
So we work for Verizon, sort of.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and they own the company, but they don't own me. They don't own you. They don't. I mean, I represent them. I have to be, I guess if I were to tweet something just obnoxious, that it could come back in the whole First Amendment thingy. But I don't know. It's just dumb. And so before anybody sends me the email that says you don't understand, don't. Just take the email, put it back, put it away. Don't send it. This is dumb. You know it's dumb. Contextually, it's stupid. It's just stupid. No one has ever claimed to own the people that no NBA owner has ever claimed to own the people that play for the team that he owns. There's a very strict, very, very public contractual element to that makes it very clear that he or she doesn't own the players involved. And for the players to act like that word's offensive because, no, stop. But you know what it does? It cheapens the legitimate arguments.
Does it? This doesn't affect them in any way, though, because if you like the NBA, you're still watching. If you don't like the NBA, you're not watching, right?
Yeah. And I think most people are this way, right?
Just watch for the product either way, whatever.
Am I crazy? I'm a Cubs fan. Am I crazy about everything that the Ricketts family has done? No, of course not. But I watch baseball to watch baseball. I watched baseball yesterday. It was on. We were grilling and having fun and playing in the pool and stuff. And I had the game on outside, and I was watching Cole Hamels versus Jacob deGrom. When Javier Baez hit a 3-run homer to win the game, I didn't think about politics or stuff. I just said, hey, good, Cubs win.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I don't watch it. This isn't going to make me view the NBA any differently. I'm still going to turn on the NBA on a Tuesday night in November and admire the skill and athleticism and grace and such that these people play with. It's fun to watch them play. So I'll continue to watch them play. I don't know. Maybe this is me being part of the common sense party, or me, as I get older, completely losing track of my give a damn button. But stuff like this, it's not going to faze me. I just think it's silly.
Yeah. We'll continue that conversation and get into another thing that's bugging Mr. McCready in a second. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. You get all underwriting and processing done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market, and with interest rates the lowest they've been in a couple years, if you bought or refinanced during that time, maybe it's time to have Jason review your rate and payment information. That'd be a good idea right about now. You can do that at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Hey, Blue Delta Jeans, Chase pointed this out to me, sent it to me a minute ago. Blue Delta Jeans is having a pop-up on Thursday, the 27th of June. So this Thursday, food and cocktails will be served at Neon Pig Cafe. Blues and jams provided by Kelly Kellum. They'll be set up with their new spring line of fabrics, taking measurements in the amazing facility of Wonderbird Spirits. So go check that out, 618 County Road 303 in Taylor, Mississippi. And don't forget, Blue Delta will come to you. They'll have a pop-up for you. If you're interested in that kind of thing, you can get in touch with them on email, info at bluedeltajeans.com. Of course, you can send them a DM at Blue Delta Jeans on Twitter or Instagram. So there's always ways to get in touch with those guys. Podcast also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast, or at rebelgrove.com. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Guest will join us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline this week. Patterson and Earhart specialize in personal injury law, real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. If you think you have a legal issue, if you just want to discuss what may or may not be a legal issue, take advantage of being a podcast listener. Get in touch with John Calvin Patterson, Wes Earhart. Tell them that you heard about them on the podcast, and that initial consultation is going to be free. 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. Hot weather is here, and with it comes the inevitable debate of sock or no sock with your loafers. So save your feet and your shoes from making their own impression and step into the summer with some no-shows from Dead Soxy. You really need to experience the difference a quality sock makes. Go to deadsoxy.com, enter the code Rebel Grove at checkout. You'll get 30% off all orders, including sale items and including the no-shows, which are the same quality you already love and enjoy with the Dead Soxy traditional dress sock, and they come with the no-slip guarantee. So go to deadsoxy.com, check out the no-show collection, and remember to enter promo code Rebel Grove at checkout for 30% off all orders.
So what else is on your mind, Mr. McCready?
Oh, there's a lot to get to. I know people want us to talk recruiting, and we will. We're going to tape for those that are wondering, we're taping a soft verbal on Wednesday night, so we'll have that to you on Thursday. By then, there will be some recruiting news. We'll get to that in a little bit. Our friend Mickey Callaway in the news today. Did you see this?
I saw this. It was sent to me by multiple people yesterday, and that's a deal where, I mean, it's been a complete train wreck since day one.
I don't think he's going to make it through this. I'm not sure he makes it through today.
I'm amazed he made it to this part. I mean, as much talk has been about a change, and I'm not saying he was right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. I just don't know.
For those that don't know,
yeah.
The Mets lost at Wrigley yesterday. Who was the pitcher? Lugo. Seth Lugo was the pitcher in the eighth. He had thrown about 40 pitches, and with 1 out and 2 on in the eighth, and their closer in the bullpen not even getting warm yet, Lugo allowed a 3-run home run on an 0-2 pitch to Javier Baez. Cubs took the 5-3 lead and subsequently won the game. Pedro Strop closed it out in the ninth. After the game, because it has been a running kind of topic of conversation on the Mets beat, Mickey Callaway was asked why he did not go to his closer, and he said what he has said all year, which is we're not going to use him for 5 outs. We'll only use him for 4 outs or less, period. At the end of the press conference, one of the beat writers, I think the one who covers the Mets for Newsday, said see you tomorrow, Mickey. The Mets are in Philadelphia. They were flying from Chicago to Philadelphia after the game. They're in Philly tonight to start a series against the Phillies.
Tim Healy was the reporter.
Tim Healy, he said, see you tomorrow, Mickey. And Mickey said, don't be a smartass. And then he called him a name that begins with mother and ends with the word that rhymes with Darius Rucker's last name. That Healy then explained to Callaway that he didn't mean any harm. Callaway went into another room. If you've ever been to Wrigley and you've ever been to the opposing clubhouse, and I have, it's
such a
small.
large group of people listening, Neil, that have been in that room. So
it's very small. It's one of the, and they fixed it a little bit, but it's still one of the smaller visiting clubhouses in baseball. And there's not a lot of privacy in that room. And Callaway went to an adjoining room to cool off. He apparently did not cool off appropriately, because when he came out of that room, he went back to the reporter and continued where he had left off. The reporter noticed that Jason Vargas, one of the Mets pitchers, was basically staring a hole in him, and the reporter asked him if he wanted to say something, and he said something along the lines of, I'd like to knock you out. And anyway, the Mets have apologized to the reporter. They have issued a statement, and Brody Van Wagenen, the general manager who used to be an agent, and it has worked out about as well as you thought it would. He was not going to be in Philadelphia with the team today, but he is now going to be in Philadelphia with the team today. He is planning to talk to some of the people involved, which I would assume includes Mickey Callaway. And there is an expectation among many who cover the Mets that change could come today.
It's been volatile. It's been, like I said, pretty much a train wreck. And it's not all Callaway's fault, but he has not necessarily handled himself well throughout it either. It's one of those deals where you go back and rewrite history a little bit. I don't know if he could have gotten it or not. He took the Mets job a day before potentially getting the Phillies job.
Yeah.
You have to wonder, had he just waited, what would have happened. And frankly, given what's happened now, because of how poorly it's gone, and especially what happened yesterday, usually managers can bounce around and get 15 possibilities and chances. I don't know if that's the case here. That decision to go ahead and leap, and I understand why it was made, frankly, might have altered his entire career moving forward.
Oh, I think it did from a managerial standpoint. I think he can get a pitching coach job somewhere because he's a very respected pitching coach.
Yeah, had a lot of success with that with Indians.
Yeah, a lot of success last year with Jacob deGrom and with Zach Wheeler this year. But when you take that job that there's going to be a ton of scrutiny. When you take that job that there's going to be a ton of media. When you take that job that there's going to be a lot of talk radio, there's going to be a lot of columnists. There's a lot of – that is a very competitive beat, and to separate yourself on that beat, you have to have an edge. Is that right? Is it wrong? I don't know. It is what it is. That going in, and so at some point you have to ask yourself – and this is not me criticizing Mickey Callaway. The Mets are a poorly run organization. Their ownership is awful. But when you're a guy like Callaway, you have to ask yourself, okay, I've been working for laid-back Terry Francona in laid-back Cleveland. How am I going to do out on my own in New York? It's going to be a circus. It's a 162-game season where every single game is analyzed. There are only about 4 markets in baseball that are this way. Mets, Yankees, Cubs, Cardinals.
That's about it.
Red Sox.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But that's about it. Everywhere else, you can have a 4-game losing streak, and it's not the end of the world. You can make a managerial mistake that cost you a game, and it's pointed out, but it's not the sole subject of conversation. And that's what's happened in New York, and it's a shame. But listen, when you decide to go after a beat writer, hello, Houston Nutt, it's over. Especially when the beat writer didn't do anything. And in this case, see you tomorrow, that's just not enough.
Mets, a team that were never going to compete this year. They're 37-41. I mean, on the field, they're just blah. They're fine, whatever.
They've made a real big deal about getting to 500.
Yeah.
And they had lost the Thursday game to the Cubs. I came on this podcast and made fun of the Mets. The Mets then won on Friday, won on Saturday. I apologized on Twitter and begged for mercy from the baseball gods, and they delivered. And so here we are, but they can't get to 500, and they made this big deal about getting to 500. And Jacob deGrom got hurt in the 6th inning yesterday, and I'm sure that everyone in that organization was super tense and super pissed at the end of that game. You know,
and emotions just popped.
Yeah, you throw an 0-2 pitch high and away to Javier Baez, and he does what he's been doing to that pitch all season, and that's drive the damn thing into the right center field stands, and you lose on an 0-2 pitch. And, you know, I'm sure everyone was frustrated. I'm sure Mickey Callaway is frustrated. They brought in an 82-year-old pitching coach. They've got a former manager in Jim Riggleman, who's been a manager in Chicago. And Cincinnati, and maybe somewhere else I can't even think of right now. And so, you know, you've got this ready-made assistant to take your gig. And I'm sure that it's been a tense time for Mickey, but, man, you can't lose your cool like that in that moment.
Man, I did not realize the Dodgers were 54-25.
They don't lose. They don't lose. I wrote this in 10 Thoughts yesterday. The Braves have been so impressive lately. And every time I watch the Braves, I think, man, they're really good. And then I watch the Dodgers, and I go, well, they're not that good. The only thing about the Dodgers, Chase, is this. And they pointed – I was watching the Dodgers-Rockies game yesterday late in the cooking process. And after I had so many drinks that I just had completely lost track, and it was just on. But I heard the Rockies broadcasters pointing out that what's going to be interesting with the Dodgers is that their lead in the West is so big that realistically they are not going to play another meaningful baseball game until October.
Yeah, they were up 13 on the Rockies.
And they are far and away the best record in the National League. I don't think Atlanta can catch them.
They have a 7.5 game lead on the Braves, who have the second best record in the National League.
Yeah, realistically, nothing against the Braves, who I think are a fantastic team. I don't think the Braves can catch them. And if that's the case, and everything's going to go through, they are not going to play a meaningful game until October. And you do wonder, are they going to be able to ratchet it up? But, man, they're good. Their pitching is so good. Their offense is so good. They field the ball well. They do everything well. And I think Dave Roberts is one of the best managers in all of baseball. And he keeps that team really loose. And Kershaw's not their ace. The Ryu, whatever, his ERA is like 1.8. The kid Buehler that went to Vanderbilt is unhittable half the time. Then you have Kershaw, and they're both Kenley Jansen's almost a sure thing in the 9th inning. Their bullpen's phenomenal. They're really, really good.
You mentioned it. I think you picked Vanderbilt in 10 Thoughts. Vanderbilt and Michigan playing in the College World Series final beginning tonight, 7 o'clock ESPN, Game 2 tomorrow at 7. Wednesday, if necessary. So Vanderbilt has to beat a 3 seed in a regional to win the national title tonight, even though Michigan is playing well. What's ESPN's tone going to be? Is this going to be a couple little engines that could? What are we doing from an ESPN storyline standpoint tonight?
Oh, I think ESPN is going to continue to do the Vanderbilt. They allow
the poor pitiful program trying to compete in the SEC.
They allow Vanderbilt to be the underdog, not understanding that Vanderbilt is the Dodgers. Literally. You where the Dodgers go, well, there is a salary tax and a luxury tax, but to hell with it. We're making so much money. Like, how much do you want, Clayton? I mean, that's the Dodgers. And that's fine. I mean, I'm a capitalist. That's cool. I said this on the podcast the other day. Vanderbilt has basically 20 to 30 scholarships, 25 scholarships, whatever they need, they have, and that's an advantage that they're given. And the
they
NCAA
take full advantage of it.
And as they should.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the people that get mad at Vanderbilt get mad at the NCAA. Don't get mad at Vanderbilt. They're not committing a crime. They are exercising a loophole that they are openly exercising, and everyone knows it, and the NCAA knows it and doesn't want to do anything about it. And so if that's the case, well, then do your thing. I don't have a problem with that. And then Michigan, the coach has come out as the great freedom fighter, and I'm sure that they'll play that up as much as they can. It's just kind of hard for me to do anything Michigan as the little engine that could.
Big Ten trying to win their first title since, I think, 1966.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's quasi-compelling.
Ohio State won the title in, 66.
I think this is the weekend. This is the week, I should say, that the rocker kid becomes a household name.
That kid has a chance. It's college baseball. It's still very niche. That kid has a chance to at least be this micro-level Zion Williamson type thing for baseball over the next 2 years.
Oh, I think that's a great comparison.
Not the same level. I get that. That's not my point.
Well, it's different.
But still in your focus if you're a sports fan. You know that guy.
Oh, I think if your baseball team is crappy, you start looking at that year and going, okay, well, I guess it'll be next season. You think, well, maybe, do we tank for him? Because I don't think he's all that far from being a major league pitcher.
He's good.
When I say that, I mean literally. I think some organization will draft him, and assuming he stays healthy, I think they'll do the deal where they look at him and go, hey, because of just rules and such, we're going to send you somewhere for a week or two, and then we're going to move you up pretty quick. If you told me that Kumar Rocker finished a season at Vanderbilt in June, and again, assuming health, pitched in the major leagues that September, I'd buy it.
Really?
Yes.
That quick?
Dude, he's ready now.
If I'm the ESPN producers, the Michigan storyline, whatever, I would try to get as many major league people engaged as possible by just talking about all the Vanderbilt former players tonight. All the pitchers, hey, you're seeing guys you are going to see. You got J.J. Bleday, who was taken 4th overall. You got this and that. Because that's the only real mainstream angle to this series tonight.
And Bleday's a guy that he's not far off. I mean, what does he have left to do?
Stupid power fits today's pro baseball so well.
Yeah, I mean, I know
wouldn't be quite the same prospect 10 years ago, but is a hell of a prospect now.
Oh, he's perfect for today's game. I mean, I know he's got to go see some more consistent, dominant pitching and stuff, and I'm not going to be the guy that goes, he's ready to play now. He's not, but he's not far off. That's the thing. You're right. I think the angle that they have to start taking with college baseball from a marketing standpoint, I'm not talking about for fans at a game, I'm talking about for making it a TV sport, is you've got to start playing up the professional potential of guys.
Yeah.
And you've got to start pointing out that, wow, look at all of the former college players that are going early in the draft and who are making it at the college level, making it at the pro level. You got to start playing that up because I think that's how you get my friend in Dubuque. You get the mainstream guy to watch it going, so that's the cat that got drafted by the Pirates or the whatever. And he might be up in a year.
Especially now that they are taking over the draft so much being the college level, and how many guys are going from college in the early rounds of the draft. And, they did a little better job of it this year. I saw ESPN did a lot of showing highlights of major leaguers and then showing their college highlights when they were in the College World Series or something. You know what I mean? Like trying to make that connection. But I think that could be expanded a good bit as they move forward.
Well, they have a tendency with the College World Series, at least from what I've seen, to get real hung up on the pageantry.
Yeah, they almost make it like a college football game.
Yeah, and it's not. It's a different deal. And you know, I mean, I watch Blade play and think, does he even need a year in the minors? And so I think that would be, if you want to interest me in this, get some major league kind of scouting sort of people to come on and say, what is left for him? Because when he dominates at that level, I think the pro guys look at it and say, I think they view, for example, when they go to, say, the SEC tournament and you've got Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, and Arkansas, and all these dominant programs with high-level pitching, especially early in the tournament, I think they look at it as like, this is what a high A minor league baseball game looks like. And if you dominate high A, you go to double A. And if you dominate double A, you're ready for the major leagues. Because most organizations don't treat triple A as the polishing step anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Triple A is sort of where it's almost a staging area.
Yeah, it's the placeholder.
Yeah, you know, you have an 11-man pitching staff. Well, you're going to have more than 11 pitchers to get through a 162-game season. And so you have some minor leaguers that still have options that you can shuffle back and forth from the AAA affiliate to the major league affiliate. You can take a guy that's in your major league bullpen that maybe he got overused a little for a couple of weeks and he's a little tired, and you can say he's got a hip flexor, and in reality his hips are fine, and you send him down to AAA for 10 days just to kind of
the Braves did that. Some people think with Newcomb the other day was that he got hit or whatever, and a couple days passed, he seemed to feel fine, nobody said a word, and then suddenly they put him on the IL with a concussion for 5 days, and all that was getting him off the roster to allow them to bring somebody up from AAA to help the bullpen. And then it was such a short IL stay that he still was able to make the next start he would have made anyway. It just gave him an extra pitcher for a few days.
Yeah, so it's a shuttle. You do your development at Double A.
Yeah,
Double A is the litmus test. If you can't handle Double A, well, you're not going to make it. But if you can handle Double A, you're able to play in the bigs.
Mm-hmm.
And you see these guys moving up fast now, and they're drafting more college guys. The college coaches, to their credit, are doing a much better job of preserving arms than they did even 5-6 years ago. And they're doing a better job of development. The level of play is better. And now these kids are getting, and I think this is the part that's made the college game even more attractive to the pro scouts, is that you get a guy like, and it didn't happen for Gray because of the injury, but he finishes his season at Ole Miss last year and goes to the Cape and plays with wood bats. And so that's not as big of a deal. And they've deadened the bats a little bit. They have a better idea of judging what kind of power a guy's going to grow into, that kind of thing. I don't think they could do that, 10 years ago when the bats were so ridiculous. I think they looked at it and said, well, there's a better chance we're making an evaluation mistake here. And now
they've done a really great job with going BB core on the bats and then also making the ball much more resembling of a minor league baseball.
Yeah, and so they're better able to judge.
They've lowered seams on the ball and stuff like that.
And like you look at the SEC games, they have all the analytics, all the TrackMan stuff. Well, the high schools don't have that. And so when you're watching some kid at, Vero Beach High School or something in Florida, you don't necessarily, you're having to do a lot of judging. Well, you're scouting a kid that plays at Ole Miss or Arkansas or Alabama or whatnot. You know pretty much what you're getting.
Yeah, you get exact readings on all those analytics, every bit of the TrackMan data, all of it.
Just made it far easier, far safer to draft college players, and therefore it's made the college game better. And you're right, Rocker. This kid's got a chance for a number of reasons to be the face of that game for a while and to make it more mainstream than it's ever been. Whether they can market it appropriately or not remains to be seen.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape. They provide premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but offer a lot more as well. Master Cuts will build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paver patios, starting at just $3,000, and forestry mulching at just $100 an hour. The path to your dream backyard, easier than you think. You can go online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote or give them a call at 662-607-7773. Again, gomastercuts.com.
Don't miss 1 minute of the action at the Vaught this season as Ole Miss football arrives in September. Reserve your season tickets with the new 2019 season ticket pricing for just $299. For more information, visit OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. Podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in more than 20 states, has advisors in 3 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. Listen, you don't have to be in your 60s or 70s to start thinking about retirement. In fact, if you wait that long, you're waiting way too long. You can sit down today, even as a young person, regardless of your level of wealth, and talk to Pinnacle Trust about a long-term financial and retirement plan. They're going to listen to your goals, they're going to study your expenses, and they're going to put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that you can and will grow with. Cookie-cutter financial planners don't do that. Pinnacle Trust does. They build a plan just for you. PinTrust.com, PINN Trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast, and you'll get 10% off your first year's fee. The podcast also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. Chase mentioned Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, which hopefully will host us for a live podcast in a couple weeks. I think that's an exceptional idea. Even if it's not for that night, you should go check out Estelle, sip on a creative craft cocktail, enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's offerings are fantastic. You'll love it. The Westin Jackson is also home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. So check out the Westin Jackson today. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Whether you're thinking about a golf trip, whether you're thinking about an anniversary trip, whether you're thinking about a family cruise, a trip to Scotland, the Caribbean, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. All you do is you give him a call, you give him some parameters, you give John a budget, and he'll give you options that you would not find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients will save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
So Ole Miss picking up more commitments over the weekend. They got D. Wright, I guess back 7 defender. Safety, is that what we're thinking at this level? No.
He's
linebacker currently listed.
Yeah, probably going to end up being an outside linebacker. He's probably going to grow out of the secondary.
6'4", 215 listed as of right now. Former Alabama commit. The kind of guy you want in your program, frankly.
Oh, he's absolutely the kind of guy you want in your program. There's no doubt. I know there's been a lot of talk about stars and no stars and stuff. They got Jacob Horn on Friday, who right now doesn't have a ranking on Rivals, which just means that he doesn't have a ranking, in large part because he only played DB last year. He came to camp. Ole Miss really liked him. He came back. They really liked him more, and they offered him, and he took it. He's got a brother that's a defensive back at South Carolina, and he's got a dad that at one point was a pretty good NFL player. There's a decent chance he's going to be good. Runs well, great ball skills, comes from a program that Tupelo that Ole Miss would like to have more success at. Makes a lot of sense. But he doesn't have stars on his Rivals profile, and that upsets some people. And I get it, but I'm going to remind people again, and I feel when I'm the voice of reason, it's not a good thing. If this were late January and you were taking kids with no ranking, I would get the angst. I might even tell you it's somewhat justified. It's June. there's no rush. They're taking Jacob Horn because they want Jacob Horn. They're taking DeRicky Wright because they really like DeRicky Wright. He's 6'4". He's going to end up being 230-something. And he's athletic. These are scouts talking, coaches talking, people who look at the kids, not me. I'm never going to pretend to be the football talent evaluator other than when Laramie Tunsil, when I saw him, I went, oh, my God, first-round pick, no question. This kid's a kid that they are absolutely convinced because of his athleticism, because of his fluidity, because of his hips, they're convinced that he's going to be able to put 20 pounds on and not lose any speed, athleticism, flexibility, and he's going to be the kind of SEC linebacker that, quite frankly, this program hasn't had for a while. And now they're starting to get multiple guys that fit the bill.
Ole Miss is at 13 in the team recruiting ranking. Again, 19 total commits, although only 17 ranked, so you're going to have that number go up probably a little bit as well. And then we don't know when people listen to this. They listen to this for about 2 full days, but we are expecting more good news for the Rebels in the next 24 hours, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's Monday, exactly 9 o'clock as I say these words, and I would think that by this time tomorrow they will have landed a commitment from Robbie Ashford, a 4-star quarterback from Hoover, Alabama, who
has a heck of a ceiling. We'll see.
Has a huge ceiling, has a big offer list, could go almost anywhere, and he's one of those guys that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of talk about baseball being a threat, and I suspect to some degree baseball's a threat. Though I don't think it's a massive threat as of today. Yeah,
he's real quick on that. He's ranked 97th nationally by perfect game. I mean, he's a big kid. He's 6'4". He can run. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day. And when you've got these two-sport players, and a guy does play baseball at either a big school or has success at it, and he's a football player, you just automatically have the tools to kind of be known as a prospect, if that makes sense. Because teams are looking at, hey, he's an athlete, he can do this, and do this, and just the physical ability puts him in that spot. However, I don't think that he is a baseball draft prospect at this point. I don't think that's a problem. Nothing I'm hearing says he has any kind of helium around him. I think he's simply a guy on the list that when scouts look at him, they go, hey, he's really athletic, let's put a big ranking by his name, and let's keep an eye on him for future years. But as of now, that I don't think that should be something on the forefront of everybody's mind.
And as a quarterback, he's a kid with tremendous upside. There is major potential. Now, will he achieve that potential? I don't know. Might not. But if he does, the ceiling is super high. And here's all you have to know about where their program is today. And I think I've established over 11 years that I'm not really the homer type. I've been critical before. They had their choice at quarterback between Blake Shapen and Robbie Ashford. When was the last time Ole Miss really had a choice like that? It's been a while. There's something that the kids are seeing that the kids like. Because the kids that they're offering and getting right now are kids that came to camp. And in many cases, kids that came to camp and then came back a second time, not to camp, but to hang out, to visit, to talk, to get to know. There's something in the program that the kids like right now. And maybe it's a number of things. Maybe it's the prospect of early playing time. Maybe it's a number of things. I don't know. It's a valid story for another day. But they could have had Shapen or Ashford. Now, it's possible that Shapen, who committed to Arizona State on Saturday, it's possible that they made the wrong call. But I think they chose Ashford over Shapen because while Shapen might be a safer pick by just a shred, Ashford's upside is exponentially, or his ceiling is exponentially higher than Shapen's.
And Ole Miss will allow him to play baseball should he choose. That will not be a hindrance or something it has to be worried about moving forward.
They'll absolutely.
Some schools won't do that. Ole Miss will.
Yeah, they'll absolutely let him play.
Yeah, I know they've to whatever level you do, baseball has recruited him as well, and that's all good. So whatever happens, happens. Yeah, I mean, just looking at colleges interested in him or offers. I mean, we always look at the rival side, but even the baseball side, talking about his football offers: Auburn, Clemson, Florida State, LSU, North Carolina State, Oregon State, A&M, TCU, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas, Vanderbilt. Okay, not bad.
No, I mean you take that all day, right?
Yeah, it's a good list.
I mean, listen, I hate to do this to the kid. I really do. But to finish my point, and I shouldn't say this, talking to people, and the person that told me this is not an Ole Miss person. When I said, what's his ceiling? And he goes, oh, man, I don't want to do this.
You're going to do this?
I mean, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to clarify it because the people that can't do context, this is not for you. The people who refuse to hear context, the following is not for you. He goes, I hate to do this to the kid. I was like, well, what is it? He goes, look, there's a real chance that he never gets close to this because there are a handful of kids who, will fit this description and very few make it this far. And I was like, okay. He goes, he's got to keep growing. Can't get hurt. He's got to stay. He's got to mature. There's some stuff, like any other. I mean, I have an 18-year-old kid in my home. I can tell you that she's got to mature emotionally to achieve her potential. That's not an insult when I say this about another kid. He's got to mature emotionally. There are some things that he's got to improve in all aspects of his life, like most 18-year-olds. But the upside ceiling that was given to me was Cam Newton. Now, those people who will go, McCready says he's the next Cam Newton, you're just not being fair. Because that's not at all what I said. But that's his upside. And if you're Ole Miss, that's worth the gamble right now when you have a room full of freshman quarterbacks. Because Ole Miss walks into the football season with one redshirt freshman and 3 true freshmen in the quarterback room. You can gamble a little. And they'll sign another quarterback next year. And that's what you do. You start to stack players at positions.
Yeah, that's the goal here.
I've said this for a while since I've been doing this. Started the recruiting beat back on May the 31st, and I've sort of educated myself over the last 3.5 weeks or whatnot. They absolutely have a plan, and they are absolutely following the plan. They are committed to the plan. Their jobs hang in the balance. They know it. They're in the scoreboard business. So we will one day find out whether the plan worked or not. But I do think it's admirable that you have a plan and you stick to the plan, and that's the route you go. And give Matt Luke a ton of credit. Part of the job of a CEO, and that's exactly what he is to delegate, hire good people, and let them do their jobs. And that's what he's doing.
You're right. So we'll see how it works out, but Ole Miss certainly, as we said, there is a plan. Now it's the matter of winning enough football games to give the patience to allow the plan to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I mean, it's, realistically, it's that deal where, someone goes, well, how long do they have? I don't know.
It's a numbers game. Wins and people in the stands.
Yeah.
Both. That's the equation.
Got to win some games. Got to look better.
And people got to show up.
And then you got to.
And I'm not yelling at fans. I'm just saying if the product's good, people will show. The product needs to be good.
Yeah, the product's got to be better. And if it is, people will show up. And if it's not, look, man, it's not difficult to judge whether it's working or not. Now, I will maintain as we get closer and closer to the start of the season that if you're only judging this season on wins and losses, you're not being fair. You know when you look at a program, are they getting better or not? Are they improving or not? Do they have momentum or not? Are they going somewhere or not? You know when you look at it. You can see it. You just know. There's never much doubt. You know.
So they need to see it. We'll see.
they'll either show it or not,
Yeah.
but they are absolutely having success on the recruiting trail right now. There's the people that are trying to spin it as they're just desperately taking kids with no offers. It's just fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. Tell you a little bit about G&M Pharmacy there on South Lamar and Oxford, and Tyson Drug in Holly Spring. For a long time, we mentioned the sildenafil, the brand alternatives to Viagra and Cialis and that type of thing. Still offer that, and we'll let you know that they can be quite discreet with the patients. You can call the pharmacy at 662-236-2222 to request a prescription, or you can go to the website at tysondrugs.com. Or gnmpharmacy.com and just click product request, and you can do the whole thing online. I know that you won't have to speak to anybody, and they will take care of you. As you know by now, you can break those pills into quarters, halves if needed. They're ready in as little as 15 minutes for you to get on with activities. So again, that is 662-236-2222.
The podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's also a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. Savannah Square will initially consist of 32 standalone detached structures ranging in size from about 1,100 square feet to about 2,400 square feet. The model home available for your inspection, located at 215 William Street. These homes have wonderful layouts, impeccable finishes. You can inspect those at the model. So give Harry a call or a text, 662-801-5621, to take a look at the model, get more information about this great new development while they're still available. SavannahSquareOxford.com. The podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home and all of the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. They also give you Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. To learn more about OUB, check out Live Oxford, bankoxford.com, or call 662-234-6668. We are also brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. 7 South, owned and operated by husband and wife duo Kyle and Jordan Thornton. They're both Ole Miss alums, Oxford locals. Kyle is a former Ole Miss baseball player, Jordan a former Ole Miss football staff member. What started as a way to pay for college has become the greatest tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. The team at 7 South are rebels through and through. They take pride in the Grove and the impact their service has on protecting, preserving, and enriching Ole Miss game day tradition. You can call them at 662-321-1682 or visit 7southtailgating.com. We're about to get to the crap take of the day. It's very, you probably can predict which one's coming. But I'll tell you that the crap take of the day, before we even get to it, is brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pets' stuff, if you will, and tracking that stuff into your house is a nightmare. Scoopers will go into your backyard, apartment complex, or condominium and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. For $10 a cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts required. You can cancel at any time. If you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a home, a condo, or an apartment complex in Oxford, and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers, 662-506-2754, or send them an email, scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com, to get your cleanings scheduled today.
Go ahead. I'll let you introduce it.
Well, I'm a big believer when it comes to national media and such that if you're going to be indignant, about things, you have to be consistently indignant. You can't pick, I'm going to be indignant here, but not indignant there. I'm going to be offended here and not offended there. I'm going to go after you, but I'm not going to go after you. Dan Wolken does not believe in that philosophy. He has selective indignation. He was deeply offended when Ole Miss violated NCAA rules. Deeply offended. Those rules, as you recall, were violated. They gave Laramie Tunsil's stepdad some money, gave some kids some loaner cars to drive, and they drove them too long. A player slept on an assistant coach's couch for a couple of nights. A player that they did not get received benefits from a booster.
There was some hunting land involved.
A player was a prospect, a prospective student athlete who did ultimately sign with Ole Miss, was allowed to hunt on land that private individuals would not be allowed to hunt on. There were rules violated. And Mr. Wolken was offended by those violations of rules and demanded retribution on the part of the NCAA, and it was delivered. The program was hammered by the NCAA. Now there is it's in federal court. It's in courts. It's there are court documents. There is evidence that LSU not only cheated like a sumbitch in basketball, but used a hospital, specifically the pediatric cancer ward of a hospital, to, I was corrected by a couple of people, so I want to clarify and say where I was wrong. I was trying to be funny. I talked about them stealing money from a hospital. I don't think the money that went...
It was funneled through the hospital. It was never actually going to the kids.
Yeah, the term that I would use would be laundered.
Yes.
The money was cleaned. You know how in Breaking Bad they had to launder the money?
Yeah, Ozark.
In Ozark you have to launder the money. You can't just do the money for the damn drugs. You got to send the money through a couple of
reputable businesses.
Reputable shell businesses. And so in this case, the money was donated to a charitable hospital. Therefore, it was tax-free. And it was a tax write-off, I should say.
It's a similar scheme to when it used to be done through churches back in the day.
Yeah, and so now they're running it through a hospital, and the money's given to football players, and there's proof that one of the football players' parents got $180,000. I dare say that for $180,000, I would be able to stay more than 2 nights on Chris Kiffin's couch.
That's a really expensive offensive guard. I still keep coming back to that.
Well, it just makes you wonder what linebackers got.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a audio call, a voicemail, where the mother of a linebacker that was recently recruited by SEC programs, including LSU, made reference to a quite significant offer from LSU.
That's correct.
His testimony was deemed by the NCAA to be credible. Which, if I'm Dan Wolken, I got to start digging into this. My goodness.
But Dan says that he simply is just not prepared enough to comment on this investigation.
Well, he's been very distracted by Wimbledon.
It's not even Wimbledon yet.
There was a tennis tournament that he tweeted a lot about.
No, yeah, Wimbledon hasn't started.
Oh, well, whoever's playing, boy, that must be one hell of a tournament. I mean, it's 40 love. It's deuce.
Sorry.
30 Federer. Give me a break, man. And yeah, you can call me, Dan. I'll take your call. We can talk, and I'll tell you what a douche I think you are. And you can tell me that I'm a big loser, and we can have that fight. But you don't give credit to Yahoo, to Pat Forty, Pete Thamel. Who am I leaving out?
Yeah.
Dan Wetzel, they wrote about it. I think they're on it. Which, if you are someone like me who thinks the NCAA should absolutely hammer LSU for this, that's encouraging, because I do believe the NCAA should absolutely hammer LSU for this. And
he went with, sorry that I haven't formed a take on the LSU situation to fit your desired timeline and specifications, but I love the suggestion that I should discuss a situation I really don't know much about to this point, just because I had a lot to say about a previous situation that I had done a lot of reporting on. Never change, SEC fans.
What a colossal circus clown. Not even that good of a writer. How did he end up at USA Today? I don't know. We make more money than he does, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. You need time to make a take on this? Dan, they funneled money, laundered money through a hospital. The guy has pled guilty. People in Baton Rouge are amazed that he's only being held to $550,000. That's all that's being pinned on him. I've heard numbers that are 6 times that amount.
That's a lot.
And this is one of those clowns. You see these people all the time that he can't be around the program enough. It's got to be in the center of it. He knew what he was doing. You think he was a rogue actor in this? Come on. A lot of people, a lot of money went. This was a recruiting tool.
It was.
And I'm on the record. I'm one of the guys that says pay the kids. Make everything above board. This model doesn't work. But laundering money through a hospital is, if the NCAA is not going to hammer that, there's just no credibility left at all. And I've had people tell me, hey, there already is no credibility. Fair enough. My point still stands. You can regain some credibility by saying, at least have some decency in your cheating.
A couple of things here that I screwed up. Game starts at 6 tonight, not 7. That was Eastern, if you care about the College World Series. And then we mentioned the Dodgers a minute ago. They hit 3 walk-off home runs over the weekend, all by rookies. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I watched the one yesterday, which off the bat looked like a fly ball.
Will Smith hit it yesterday.
Yeah, just kept going.
Yeah, 3 walk-off home runs in 3 days, all by rookies.
You know, something we can touch on tomorrow. We've probably gone long enough today. Tomorrow, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, was asked about all of the home runs.
Yeah.
He referred to the ball basically having, and I quote, a magic pill.
Really?
Yeah. Putting sildenafil in these damn balls.
They are.
People are. The other day in the Cubs game, Todd Frazier for the Mets, he hit a fly ball. The wind was not a factor at Wrigley on Saturday. He hit a fly ball and was so pissed off when he hit it because he missed it. And he's a major league player. He knows major league players know when they got it, and they know when they didn't. He was pissed. Heading down to first base, basically slammed his bat to the ground. He was mad at himself, cussing himself. The ball goes out. Not wind. Ball goes out because his teammates are making fun of him for his reaction. The ball's juiced.
They want it to be juiced.
I think so.
Yeah.
The rookie for the Mets, Alonso, who is a terrific player.
Yeah, Peter Alonso.
Man, oh man, that kid's good. He already has 27 home runs, and it's June the 24th.
That seems like a lot.
Broke the Mets rookie record that was set by Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry did not hit him by June the 24th.
Alonso, a really good player for Florida.
Oh, he's a terrific player. His swing and everything, he's a fantastic player. I watched a lot of that series this weekend, and he's a beast. But 27 home runs on June the 24th for a rookie?
He was taken 64th overall in the 16 draft. Second round.
Few teams made a mistake there.
Yeah, in 2016 as a junior at Florida, his slash line was 374, 469, 659, and hit 14 home runs.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. More tomorrow. We'll have some guests on the Patterson Earhart hotline. We'll ask Jeffrey about his golf bag as the week goes on, and then we'll discuss what else comes in recruiting probably at some point today. So appreciate you listening to this point, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.